We're moving. In case you haven't heard, you may have heard via Twitter posts or me offhandedly mentioning it during a live stream, and I realized a lot of people don't really have the time to watch an entire Teiufs Talks podcast, or listen to one of that matter, to hear the why, or the reasoning behind why we're moving. So I figured I'd take some time to just do a sit-down edited video explaining you kind of the bullet point reasons, the main factors, and understand that ultimately this is a very good thing for the Teiufs Network. A downgrade, a step backwards in a lot of ways, but a step forwards in many others. So here's why we're moving. Primary reason is money, and let me be clear to you, Teiufs is not financially in trouble. This has nothing to do with our income being somehow lower than it has been in the past. Actually, watch time and views for both Teiufs Tech and the rest of the channels are higher than ever. Particularly here on the Teiufs Talks channel, we have never seen views in watch time and overall income be as high as it is today. Same with the tech channel, it's increasingly growing, we're getting more and more subs, we're getting more and more watch time. Basically, the only reason I'm telling you this isn't to brag, it's simply to say us moving out of this office is not a desperate call for, well, you guys weren't supportive enough. I'm not trying to get that message sent across at all. You guys have been incredibly supportive, and I am insanely grateful for all the super chats, the Twitch primes, the Patreon members. Even though we scaled back our Patreon, there's still a lot of people supporting us over there. Overall, the fans and your contributions have been wonderful, and the moving out of this big office into my home office is not a reflection of poor donations or people not being supportive enough. You guys have done plenty and gone above and beyond what you needed to do as a fan base. And yeah, I guess I should explain before we get too much more into the why. We're moving into my house. Me and my wife have been happily married for 5 months now. We're coming up on 6 months, and we have a 2-bedroom house that is not huge, but it's roomy enough. And we realized we weren't really doing anything with the second bedroom of our house. And given I've had a lot of people come in and out of my life, the amount of space I have to work with in this enormous office that I put a lot of work into, between painting the walls and us redoing drywall and redoing the carpet. There was a lot of work and a lot of time that I have committed to this place, and for the most part, it's been a pretty decent office. We've had the option of having multiple Wi-Fi networks. Definitely a good deal that our landlord gave us on the amount of space we have for the price we pay. I won't go into the details, but let alone, it's a good deal. That's all I'm trying to say, and it's been a good office for us. There have been some problems more recently between mold growing, leaks coming in through the floor, and sadly, as nice as a guy our landlord is, he hasn't really been able to take care of it. So basically, anytime it rains here, all of that water just kind of slips in between the bathroom tiles and between the carpets in the back. All I'm trying to say is it hasn't been perfect. There are a couple of things I'm definitely not going to miss about this place. But yeah, as you can guess, with me moving to my home office and us only having to pay rent for one living space and not having to pay for all of this office space plus living space that we're going to be paying for anyway, we're going to be saving a lot of money that's going to be getting us further in life towards our big goals, which for me and my wife, goal number 1 is being able to buy a house. Not the house we're in right now, which is kind of why, in case some of you are wondering, like, Drew's moving again, why doesn't he do a project 3X? Why doesn't he do a project that's top secretly labeled and make a big deal out of it and try to let the audience guess about it? Well, ultimately, I'm trying to not make moving offices a big deal as I have in the past, because me and my wife have discovered that there's a lot of different places we want to live in and try out in our lives. So Teiufs moving offices, I'm trying to tell you here today, is gonna become a fairly normal thing in the grand scheme of our YouTube history. Currently, we only expect to be at the house I'm living in right now for another 2 years, and then we anticipate perhaps even leaving the state and trying out a different part of the country. There's a lot of places me and my wife want to travel to and live in for quite a while, so what's kind of helpful about moving out of this big office and working out of a much smaller office space and kind of consolidating, getting rid of a ton of stuff that I don't really use that much, is we're aware that we're going to be moving a lot in the future between different states, both in and out of California. We don't know yet where we're going to be headed exactly, but if we had all of this stuff to take with us every time we did one of those moves, moving would be insanely annoying and frustrating, as bad as moving already is. We already have a ton of stuff at our house, and packing all that up and moving it to wherever we decide to work is going to be quite a difficult process as it is. So making sure that in this stage of our lives, when we're saving up money so that we can buy a house down the road in 2 to 3 years, or longer depending on how our financial situation goes, having as little stuff as possible and making Teiufs happen with just the bare necessities, not taking any more than we absolutely need, will make moving down down the road a lot easier, because we won't have to worry about getting rid of a bunch of furniture we don't really use anymore, or a bunch of things that I've collected in the nooks and back areas and closets that we have here. I have had a bad habit of storing up a bunch of stuff that I don't really need, but because I have all this space, I go, I can store it back here and I won't really think about it. Bad habit, because now, as we're moving out, I have to remember to get all that stuff and clean it and find a place for it and sell it or throw it away. And overall, for the past month, I've been working very hard to get rid of all the things I don't need, and we're still not done. But ultimately, at the time you're watching this, or right after this video has been posted, we're probably moving into my home office, because at the time of recording this, the move from here to my home office is about 4 days away, and I'm not exactly sure when I'm gonna get this video up, but hopefully soon. And the other advantage of working from home is, bizarrely, for whatever reason, our house can get way better Wi-Fi than we can get here. At this office currently, we have the best Wi-Fi that our internet provider can offer us, which is 250 down and 30 up, which is pretty good. It handles live streams okay, it handles uploads okay, but you can never really do live streaming and uploading simultaneously, which is why we're paying for 2 separate Wi-Fi networks. But I will add, it is expensive. Without going into the specifics, I will just say that we can get better Wi-Fi at our house for a third the price. 1/3 of what we're paying for Wi-Fi here. Not to mention, we're gonna be getting gigabit Wi-Fi at our house, which we've tested and make sure it works. We brought a router and a modem over there just to ensure that the internet speeds are this good. Over there, we can get up to 1,000 down and even over 40 up, which isn't a huge increase in upload, but I'll take it, especially at a third the price. I also want to mention that even if money was not an option and I had an infinite budget, I don't think I would really keep this office space, just because renting is not the same as investing in a household. Because when you buy a house, most of the time, sometimes not, but most of the time, it's going to appreciate in value. The real estate market, for the most part, is going to go up if you play the long game. If you live in that house for a long time, typically you'll be able to sell it for more than what you paid for it, and you're able to make a profit after that sale of your house. In some bad case scenarios, you won't make a profit, but you'll at least get the money back that you paid for that property. So me and my wife are thinking of that plan, thinking, how soon can we make payments on a house? Because when we're renting out an office space like this is lots of money every single month we just throw into a drain. It's not an investment. That rent is not getting us closer to owning the office space. It's not getting us closer to being able to own a property that could appreciate in value over time, which means that every single month, this office requires a big chunk of my paycheck that isn't exactly an investment. All it's really going into is the background for my videos, which, as cool as it is to have all this space, and as cool as it is to mess around with different angles and have more lights around the room and cameras around the room and have this cinematic freedom, ultimately, I think you guys watch my videos because of me, not because the background is a certain way. And if anything, you guys don't like the background all the time. There's always something wrong with the soundproofing, the paint job was sloppy, there's always some kind of complaint, which means that it doesn't really make sense to me that my biggest expense out of all the things I have to pay for my business, Wi-Fi, power, rent prices, all that stuff, rent being the most expensive thing, affects so little of the way you guys view my content, because you're just watching me on a screen anyway, and you can hear me, you can see me, and as we've messed around with different setups and lighting environments that we have at my home office, I think it's gonna be fine. You can still expect to see all the same videos that I normally do, except now I'm gonna be working from a slightly smaller room. Okay, big whoop. Doesn't really change anything for you, because you still get the content that you're expecting from the Tailosive Network. However, now we get to save a lot more money as a business, and me and my wife can work a lot more closer to those goals we have later in life, which, like I said, goal 1 being able to buy a house, which is likely not going to be the house we're in right now. We have no intentions on buying it, but we got a good deal on rent from our landlord. So essentially, as soon as we do have enough money saved up to be able to make a down payment on a house, perhaps even buy it outright, then we'll be doing that, and I'll be moving again, hopefully to a space with a little bit more room. But yeah, there's gonna be a ton of challenges with this as well. For me, the one I'm most worried about is separating work from home. What I've kind of appreciated about having this office space separate from my house is that it's very easy to leave my work behind me. It's very simple for me to just say, okay, I can't think about work right now, I'm not working on work right now because I'm not at the office. And now that I'm gonna be working from home, that's gonna become a little bit more difficult, because the office is always going to be right there. Even if I'm off work and just spending time with my wife or eating dinner, all of my equipment, all of my office work is gonna be right there. And that's a challenge I'm willing to take on, and because I think we're gonna save so much money off of this move, I think that challenge is worth taking. So ultimately, what I want you guys to understand is that Tailosive is gonna be moving a lot. This space was never intended to be the final headquarters home of Tailosive. In the space we're moving to, at my home office, that's not intended to be the permanent space for Tailosive. At this stage of my life, you know, I'm 21 years old. I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I fully fully intend on doing it for decades to come. It's way too early in my career to know of a permanent place that Tailosive is going to be based at. We're not even close to looking at something that we can officially buy or move into and say, okay, Tailosive is going to be here for, you know, years and years and years. I don't know. Life can change. Tastes can change. I might decide I don't want to live in California anymore. And we're looking at all different states across the country to figure out which one will probably suit our needs best. And I'm sure most of you are likely going to comment that you want me to move to wherever you are or a place that you would like to move yourself. We all have different needs and preferences. Hopefully you guys have learned that from Tailosive Tech. But still, at the end of the day, this move is going to allow me to save more money that we can put towards the house, as well as better and more advanced equipment. I'm hoping that with all of the savings we're getting from this move, I'll be able to make investments into better camera equipment. We've already purchased a second Blackmagic camera, it just hasn't got here yet, but I want to invest in things like sliders and maybe some better gimbals or better lighting equipment. That way we can improve the quality of Tailosive, even if the office space is a lot less square footage than it used to be. Also, some people were asking if that means that there's not going to be Wyatt in Tailosive anymore, or Dan is going to be gone now. No, my house is not too far away from them. So Wyatt and Dan, they will still be making their regular appearances in Tailosive content, both in Saturday shorts or in movie reviews. They will be around. We're not moving that far away, okay? All of the content you're getting from the Tailosive network right now is not going to be changed from this move. You're still going to be getting Saturday shorts. If anything, the Saturday shorts might make a lot more sense because now we have like a house to film them in, opposed to just like a big office with blue walls. We're still going to be doing gaming streams. Even Wyatt and I have talked about doing gaming streams together again, just like the good old days, but we're up for it. We're interested in it, and I'm sure a lot of you guys would be willing to watch it. Dan's also moving into his own house simultaneously, so it kind of works out perfectly because he's most likely going to be working on movie reviews over at his house as well. And of course, when we want to meet up and film a video together, we can still do that. The Tailosive Talks podcast that you appreciate, that's still happening. The Tailosive Tech podcast, that's still happening. Music videos, of course, are still happening. Food videos, of course, are still happening. And obviously the vlogs will keep on happening. There's been a little bit of a dip in content from all the channels right now because we've been preoccupied so much with this move, and it's taken up a lot of our time, packing things up, selling things, and trying to get rid of everything. It's been quite a chunk out of my normal content producing schedule, but once we get everything settled into the new home office, once we're very comfortable there, do expect all of the regular content that you would get from Tailosive to be back again. So that's the situation. That's why we're moving, and I'm hoping for the most part you guys can understand and appreciate that this is for the best of the network as a whole. If anything, staying in this office space and just having all the freedom of the extra square footage is setting us back, because ultimately that main goal was still true. Me and my wife, we would like to move away and be able to buy a house one day, and that move is gonna get a lot more closer now that I'm gonna be working from home. Anywho, thank you guys so much for watching this video, for sticking with me and supporting the Tailosive network. All of it is so much appreciated by me. I'm still very thankful that I get to call this my job and that I have an audience to maintain. I'm very happy about all of it, and I'm personally not really going to miss this office space that much. I've spent a lot of time here, a lot of memories were made here, and I still consider myself a futurist. So to be frank, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to mix things up a little bit. I'm ready to try something new, and specifically, I'm ready to have a window in my office so that I can let fresh air in and also just look at the sky, because in here it kind of feels like a basement. The windows are all tinted. I can't look outside. I can't open any windows, so when there's mold back here, it smells like really bad. And also, it'll be nice that I won't have to drive so far every time I have to go to work. So there's a lot of benefits for this, and I'm certainly looking forward to it. Even though it is a step backward in a lot of ways, I'm ready for it. And frankly, I cannot wait to get out of here. Anywho, appreciate all of you for watching, and I hope you have an excellent day. Take care.